somewhat surreal, you know. Kind of amazing. It's been 30 years, and a lot of the fundamental things are the same. You know, I've been surprised how the similarities that exist over that long period of time. You know, there's been somewhat of a reestablishment of the Big East after having added teams and subtracted. So I think, you know, it's in the process now of reestablishing itself. And I think when you have that consistency, you can build up rivalries. And, I think it's real healthy.
And you're putting your staff together. Obviously, you got a lot of guys who can recruit and also develop players. Can you just kind of talk about what you were looking for when you're putting that staff together?
Yeah, I mean, that's something I've done in the past. You know, putting staffs together is really important. The first thing I did was try and find people with experience in college basketball because I have none.
Right.
So, you know, getting Matt, Abdel Massi, and Slice, my first two priorities. And then from there, just really because of their experience in college basketball, not just recruiting, but they pretty much have played every role in different programs. And then to me, the natural thing after that is development.
Yeah.
You know,
is that why you picked Greg pretty much?
Yeah, Greg has been working with me. He was with us in Sacramento and did our play development. I just saw how the guys gravitated towards him, not only personally but also on the court. So, and just trying really to give these young guys the best chance they can to improve their games. And I think when you're an athlete, I've always felt like they go hand in hand. When you put your time in on the court, you kind of have a good routine, and it kind of follows through off the court. So we're emphasizing a lot of not only hard work and discipline, but also balance.
Did you feel any pressure or give any thought to hiring an African-American assistant, or you just picked the most qualified people?
As far as I know, Mitch Richmond's fits that qualification. Unless I could be wrong.
Yeah. I mean, do you think any other schools will use that negative recruiting at all? That none of the assistants are, other schools negative recruiting?
Yeah, Mitch Richmond, I think, whatever role he plays, will have a huge impact. Could be the only time in college basketball history. So to me, I love my staff. Like I said, I put the staffs together for the last, my years in the NBA.
You sounded like when your opening comments that there doesn't seem like there's been much of a change. The Big East is the Big East. Is that an accurate?
Yeah, well, again, I've been away from it for a long time, but just in the meetings I've been in, and the core schools that Dave Gavitt created are still strong presences, and I think the ones that they added are really, really strong basketball programs. And I think one of the things that makes conferences is the rivalries. And just like in the NBA, it takes time for that to happen. You just don't make them up. And the biggest thing that happens is you compete year in and year out. When you change teams like they have, it takes a little while to reestablish that. And I think they're in the process of that.
Chris, when this opportunity came up, how big a decision was it for you to come back to college basketball and come back to New York?
The basketball part was actually pretty easy. I have been thinking about coaching for the last few years. I'd started getting some stuff together and started spending some time planning things out. Where I was going to do that, I wasn't sure. But just doing the preparation, if I decided to do that. My biggest struggle was moving my family. The basketball part was, I think, a natural fit. I felt comfortable with coming back to St. John's, coming back to New York. Having spent 30 years in the Bay Area, and that's my kids' home. So I'm coming home, but they're not.
What about Lou and his influence in this decision? I mean, obviously you two are very close.
Oh yeah. When Coach Carnesecca, I always tell people all the time, he was my college coach, but he's more than that. I met him when I was 12. I went to his camps as a kid. And he's had a tremendous influence on my life. For 40 years now. And we've talked in the past about doing this, but again, everything in life is timing. So we're enjoying our time together now, and really a lot of the things I'm trying to do is what he did. Really just pass on all the lessons he gave me, both on and off the court, is to give the players that are going to play for me do the same thing for them.
You see him a lot?
Oh yeah. He's done well.
You've been in the spotlight as a player, and now as a coach. What's harder, to absorb this sort of attention as a player or as a coach?
I think I'm always side towards the players because I've never been a coach before. I can equate it maybe to like when I was a GM. It's tough because you don't have that ability to control what's going on the court. You put things in place and you have to sit back and watch. This is probably a step closer than that because you're actually on the court, but you still can't make shots go in and you don't know what's going on in their heads and things like that. But it is a step closer. And I think that the thing I do like is being in practice. Teaching in practice and trying to get guys better and again do a lot of things that Coach Carnesecca did for me, for my players now.
You know the attention that this program can generate and how do you help as a player? It's going to be some growing pains here.
No question, yeah. I really, much like, again, as I approach things as a player, is really, you have your plan, and you stick to your plan, and really it's a daily plan. I really been talking to my guys about taking care of today. Being dedicated, being disciplined, and we put a schedule plan out for them, and I just make sure they stick to it. What happens, tomorrow, we'll take care of that tomorrow.
Chris, when you played, St. John's really put together a national power filled with New York kids. Is it possible to do that? I mean, now, 30 years later.
Ideally, I would hope so, because there's still tremendous talent here. A lot of kids, there's a little different dynamic where some kids are not staying in the city, but they still have city ties. And a lot of the kids that want to come back and want to be near their families, that's the guys we want. And it's not, some kids need to get away. That's natural. Some go away to school and high school and they want to come back already. So we want to find the right fit. That's what it's all about.
It's kind of special for you though, playing with a bunch of New York kids. I mean, it really kind of gave the city a bonding process.
Yeah, I think there is there's truth to that. For better or worse, New York,
knew all those kids.
We like our own. We like our own. We like to take care of our own. But also at that point in time, that's the only way it was. It really was St. John's. That's what St. John's was. They always had city guys, and that dynamic has changed a little bit. But there's still a lot of great players in this city. I love the city players. Like I said, the ones that fit, and the right ones to stay home. That's the ones we want. No. I never really, no offense, but I never really paid attention to preseason stuff. And quite frankly, it really wouldn't change what we're going to do tomorrow in practice. And that's really where we're at. Rebuilding and having 9 new guys. I guess, one thought could say you could use it as bulletin board material, but I really would, like I said, it wouldn't change my practice plan for tomorrow.
Do you think it motivates the guys a little more than they needed? Or?
It might.
Yeah.
We have ways of motivating them too.
As you're identifying potential student athletes, what are you looking for?
I think at St. John's, we really want kids that are unselfish. They want to play up tempo. are into hard work, practice, and I think there's also a dynamic of guys that fit in New York City. There's a dynamic there that maybe a lot of schools don't have, and you know, first and foremost, you have to want that. You have to welcome that.
What's it been like for you since you've been back home? I mean, has it been an adjustment, or does it feel like home?
You know, I've always had residence here. Since I'm somewhat bi-coastal, not really, but you know. So again, for me, it's been pretty easy. My family moving back, that's been, you know, the transition period. But it's funny, over 30 years, I've really never left. All my friends,
all your friends still
all my financial people, everything is here. You know, people always told me in California I never lost my accent, because every day I was talking to people in New York. So again, from a basketball standpoint, and me personally, somewhat smooth. It's just, you know, I haven't have my family, you know.
Didn't take you long to recognize the places you used to go? Or?
No. Like I said, I've maintained a lot of my relationships here over the years.
Nice. Chris, what's it been like you recruiting? How has that adjustment gone? Learning the recruiting game and that type of thing?
It's been fine. You know, I hired two great guys that have, you know, great experience in that area, and really I let them dictate where I go and what I do. I'm following their lead. That's why I hired them. So again, I think, you know, my experience in the NBA has served me well, because we've done a lot. We do a lot of that in the NBA as well, as far as scouting, traveling, and believe it or not, even when you're signing a guy to a $100 million contract, you still recruit him, believe it or not. So some changes, but I think I found more similarities than differences.
What's the biggest difference between the NBA and college basketball for you personally?
One thing is practice time. A lot more practice. You know, in the NBA, we practice for 5 days maybe. We start playing exhibition game, and then pretty much you kind of scale everything back. And obviously, you know, probably the biggest difference is having the academic piece worked into your schedule, which I think in a way is good, because it's a built-in time where you know where they are, you know what they're supposed to be doing, and it's somewhat away from basketball. I also feel like, you know, from a coaching standpoint, when we do have them, it's more activity and less lecturing, because to me they're coming out of lectures and things. So I really try and keep our practices physical and moving. Of course, there's teaching points, but I like it to be fast and moving. I mean, I equate it to when I got out of school, I want to go do something. I want to go back to school after school. So again, and some of the stuff I'm still learning, but in general, that's probably the two things that stick out.
You were the ultimate gym rat. You were always looking for the keys to the gym, and then turned you into it. You were a self-made player and turned you into an All-American. Is that the type of kid that you're looking for? Or are kids just different now?
No, I found them to be, a lot of these kids love to be in the gym. You know, I think what you have to do is be efficient with your time. You know, and look, there was a lot of stories. I used to go in the gym and really work, and then leave. You know, so it wasn't like I was hanging around the gym for hours and hours and hours just hanging around. Because you can be in the gym a long time and do nothing. So I think a lot of it is really, again, passing on things I learned from Coach Conasec and 2 years in the NBA of efficiency, using your time correctly, not only because you have academics to take care of, you also want your body to recover.
Has Coach given you any advice about this job?
Well, he's given me 40 years of advice. You know, and probably the biggest thing is the way he lives his life. The guy's humble, honest. You know, he's got a great sense of humor, which I think is important in sports, to have fun. I think, you know, at the core of this, you know, these guys, although, you know, you play in pressure game, but it's really a game we all played as kids. I mean, there's got to be an element that it's still fun. It has to be. Yeah, so all the fundamental things that I'm trying to pass on to them is really from Coach Mullin.
How do you bring your Hall of Fame talent to teach? Like, since you have a lot of experience, more than a lot of other coaches, how do you bring that to the team? Since they're mainly freshmen, how do you bring that?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I'm trying to do is really establish a culture of hard work, unselfishness, dedication and discipline. And I think the skill development would come. I think the biggest thing I can pass on right now is things that work for me as a player, as I try to get myself ready for the season at different levels. As far as physical conditioning, my mental approach, skill development, all those different things that over a long career, people taught me. And again, trying to the things that work, pass on to them, and also let them know some of the things that didn't work and why. I think it's important. It's one thing to teach kids and to tell them what to do to a degree, but also I think it's important they know why they're doing it. There's a reason why we're having them do these things. It's not just about me telling them what to do, because we're trying to get to an end result and trying to get better.